So I'm spinning it now because it reversed the power. If it reverses it back, then it comes back to me. So we've got to see what's. Okay, so get rid of him.
Babes is the king of the week. Even if you're the king of the week, you're not safe. I never foresaw this ever.
I told you.
Hello and welcome to Top 4 FPL. I'm Van Doozl.
I'm Rock and Roll CEO.
I'm Sparky.
And I'm Oscar Bunny. Welcome to Top 4 FPL.
Hey, the season's finally kicked off. Yes, and we're finally here to present some points now.
So, what do you think of the game week?
Well, I think about the game week.
Whoa. Hang on 1 second, guys. Are we not having a disclaimer today?
I'm going to claim, first of all, I don't know if you're going to claim or disclaim, but I'm going to claim that I am the worst predictor of scores and things ever. So if you've tuned into this program and you're listening to anything I'm saying about football or any players to buy or anything like that, don't listen to me because I suck at it. And I'll tell you why in a bit with my score and my team.
So yeah, I remember like last week you were saying your team was unbeatable. Yes, he's wrong.
Yeah.
He's wrong. I told you I had it in the bag, but
yes, even I hopped all over you.
Well, the thing is, it's not just about my team. Just about the predictions I make. If you can remember on the pilot episode when we were predicting which teams were going to be successful, which teams were going to go down, what did I say about the three teams I thought that were going to go down? What did I say about that?
You said the three Bs, but it's only game week one.
I said that any team beginning with B is never successful in the Premier League. And what happened? All those three teams that I mentioned that I thought were going to go down all scored 2 each and then won their games, didn't they? Bournemouth, Brighton, and Brentford. Yeah, they all scored. Right, okay. So what about your predictions, Bunny?
I honestly, initially, I had a fantastic team until the last minute I changed the whole of the players, which I shouldn't have. However, I think I've done a right choice by picking Salah and a few other players, which we'll come to that later on.
Were you the only one to pick Salah? Was he the only one to pick Salah out of all of us?
No, Sparky's got Salah.
I think
you both had Salah.
I captainated him. In fact, he carried my team. That was very nice of him.
Yeah.
Salah has scored on the opening game of every single season of the Premier League that he's played in for Liverpool.
Yeah, that's 6 in a row now.
Records all over the place.
Cannot buy Salah after that stat is really seriously. There's something wrong with us. I've got to get my my mind fixing kit and put the screws back in place because there's something wrong with me. How? Anyway.
Well, there is something wrong with you. You picked an excellent player like Mitrovic and decided to change him just before the game started.
Yeah, no, Mitrovic was one of the first players that I thought was going to be my cheap defender in my team. On my initial draft of my team,
Defender?
Mitrovic was probably one of the first players that I bought in my first ever draft for this FPL. And like any crap manager would do, he gets rid of the good players and keeps the crap ones. That's me.
Basically, the gist of it is,
I'm not going to be king of the week this week.
If you listen to everything that Jem says and do the opposite, you might actually win a bit of money at the bookies.
You will lose.
Before we move ahead and look at the top 4 FPL private league, which you can still join by using the code that you can see below, or you can just click on the link in the description below and go straight to the private league. And let's have a look at how we did this week.
Hey!
Come on, Heralds of Galactus. My team is Heralds of Galactus. And yeah, I don't know. He's probably too busy in planets at the moment because he hasn't really selected any good champions. Thanks for the Darwin pick. The only good advice that got me points this week, I think, was Sparky's Nunes theory. Thanks, because I copied his Nunes. He started off the season by saying, don't copy my Nunes. And I totally copied his Nunes. And he got me good points. So Darwin Nunes... That was a prediction. I said he's going to be a Terminator, and he's actually, firing on all cylinders in the last 3 games I've seen him playing, even pre-season.
Well, let's have a look at Nunes theory.
Nunes theory.
Got 62 points this week.
Respectable.
Very good Salah captaining. Very good.
Very good. If I made Salah captain, I would have been in first place. Why did I not captain him?
Why wouldn't you captain Salah? He's always involved. I mean,
I made
see,
Son captain. Son's a goal scorer as well. He scores a lot of goals. But
forget
hey,
Son. Forget Son. He's
no,
right.
no,
So
I
what
can
happened
never
this
forget
week?
Son. His face is so smiley, you can't forget it. No.
So actually, I was actually quite lucky this week because this wasn't the initial team that I picked. This is like 90% different from the original team because if you remember, Molly Watkins got changed. He got injured. Sorry. So because he was my like little differential, my cheap striker differential, and he got injured. So because I had to replace him, but there wasn't anyone really I thought of value for that week to change him I completely shuffled. So after that, I actually copied Van Doozl's Darwin, it turns out. I copied him back.
I copied your Nunes, and then you went and copied mine. I think we've all bought Nunes. Has everyone got Nunes now?
No.
No, I had him at the start, and in fact, if you remember from last week's episode, I transferred him out after Kane looked so fighting fit on the post. And my team's called Glory of Alpinson, by the way. Remember I changed Alpinson's my boy.
Alpinson.
I had Kulishevsky as captain right up until I transferred out Nunez and brought in Kane, who I then made captain. I would have been top of the league this week. Not only that, I sold Martinelli and brought in Odegaard. But one of the transfers in that I'd made during that shuffle just before the beginning of the game week was I brought in Ryan Sessegnon, who not only started, which I was surprised about. I wasn't sure he'd start, but he scored.
And he's a cheap one as well, isn't he?
Yeah, he's only 4.5 million, I think.
Wow, that was the most shrewd maneuver that you have made. Is that Sessegnon maneuver?
Yeah.
And
hang on, did he come on as a left back?
He started. He's a left wing back, and then he got booked as well. So he lost me a point there. But other than that, I think he did fairly well. In fact, he got a bonus as well. So for the minus point that he lost for the booking, he made up with a bonus point.
See, how could you have predicted he was going to start over Perisic? Like I had Perisic, and then he only got me like a couple of points.
I sold Dyer and then bought Doherty, who played for 1 minute, and Dyer scored.
Yeah. In the last episode, you talked about why you transferred in Dyer, how he gets in the box, and how he takes shots and scores, and then you transfer him out.
This is the kind of thing. This is the kind of thing I do to myself. It's like there's an evil me that takes over the day before the game and goes, "No, take Dyer out. Take Dyer out. Put in Doherty. Doherty will score." And it's his voice in my head that makes me do it, and it's not me. That's not what I did. I had Dyer. Next day I looked and I had fucking Doherty. Evil me, go away. Anyway, I was sabotaged by me.
A lot of people they tend to make changes at the last minute. And I think one of the best tips I personally can give as someone who's very guilty of this is go with your gut instinct and don't do that.
Exactly.
As you can see, unless there's a reason for it, like they're injured, or you hear something in the grapevine that, I don't know, they've had a fight with their wife or something. You're like Robert De Niro in Casino, and you get this inside information. Keep the team that you pick.
But what happens is I like to play fantasy league so much that I just want to keep playing it. And it's like, I want to do another change.
I want unlimited transfers.
I want to do another one. And it's like, I just want to play fantasy league. It's like, I should make 6 teams or something.
So Oscar didn't have that good a Saturday, but then he made up for it today because he bought Haaland.
Who bought Haaland?
He sold Haaland. I'm sorry. I thought you made it up because of Haaland. You sold Haaland.
I sold Haaland and bought Bamford and Salah.
Bamford's good.
Okay.
So I don't think I lost much, to be honest. I sold Haaland and bought Salah, which
you made more in the
aggregate. Much of a points difference, to be honest.
That's fair enough. That's fair enough to Bamford and Salah, yeah.
And I've even stand my ground with Aronson from Leeds, and I'll stick to everyone I've got. I think they're all good. I mean, there's no one here that's not good. Even Johnson from Nottingham Forest. I know he got a bit unlucky, but he's one of their star players. Lingard's a good player. Billing, he's a superstar for Bournemouth itself, and he will rise, and he will have times where he scores 2-3 goals in a game, and I'm waiting for those moments.
See, last week my problem I had was, like I said, I was lucky, I betted for Bournemouth to lose, for Leeds to lose, probably by quite a big margin. So I didn't choose any of their players, but all the teams that were playing them, I had to sub out to reshuffle my team. And you went for Bournemouth, so that was quite shrewd. You went for Billing from Bournemouth. I didn't see that happening.
Let's have a look at Herald of Galactus then, Van Doozl's team, and see how he got on.
Yeah.
Oh, this should be good.
See, if you can see my team, you'll see that it's probably totally different from the team I showed you on the last program, which was supposed to be the team that I played. I'd had two in midfield from Arsenal, which was Martinelli and Saka, if you can remember. And Rock and Roll claimed that I was cannibalizing my midfield. So I took his advice, and then Martinelli scored. So there you go. Don't listen to anyone.
It wasn't advice, it was a comment. I said,
Yeah.
you know, and you said,
I
yeah,
thought
you're
you had the
taking that,
point.
but it was a decision. And then
You know, I thought you
Martinelli
had the
scored and
point.
Saka got an assist.
Yeah. So I thought, hold on a minute, why don't I go for a City player instead? So, you know, I can have a choice of 2 games to get points in. So I thought, oh, let me think of a City player that always scores. Oh, he's bound to score, Mahrez. Go on, Mahrez. And I went and got Mahrez for 8 million, and he got me 1 point.
With
Van
City
Doozl
players and
played.
with Chelsea players, you're never sure that they're going to start.
Yeah.
James started this week, obviously.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
Chelsea they bought Cucurella. That's how you pronounce it, right? Cucurella.
I'm not gonna buy him.
Cuckoo.
And he's an excellent
buy
player. So
Yes.
he could be starting. He looked very composed as he did at Brighton. He's excellent purchase, very shrewd.
Yes.
He looks like he could be a starter in the coming weeks, but you never know because obviously with the Champions League games are going to be coming up and the cup games, etc. While Mahrez did score, and he was, I think, their top scorer last season.
Well, anyway, I've got him for now. But what I'm going to say about this team, this is just like testing the water now. We've had 1 game. We're testing the water now. So, yeah, next week we'll talk again after the next game. You know, I'm going game by game right now. I don't want to reveal too much. And, yeah, I don't want to say too much. The only thing is I'm disappointed in this team is Rashford and Doherty, really. And Alexander Arnold, he's got to put himself together. I'm sure he will in the coming games. So I like the look of Skamaka today. He seemed to warm to the Premier League quite well. You know, he had a header on goal and everything. So
he did play very well. He came in afterwards, but he does.
So yeah, Skamaka's a player I'm looking at to bring in maybe when you know, I've seen a couple more games of West Ham. But for now, yeah, this team, I'm not that happy with it. Rashford was a terrible decision. Mahrez was a terrible decision. Doherty was a terrible decision. And there's going to be a shift. We'll see what happens after spinning the wheel. Next, please.
Okay. So let's have a look at the team that's at top of the top 4 FPL at the moment. And again, you can join this league by clicking on the link in the description, in the video description below. So we've got a Jay Peter from Nigeria who's on 69 points and currently on top of the top 4 FPL league. So he captained Salah this week, and he had Haaland as well as James and Cancelo and Gabriel.
Yeah.
Any points on the bench? He could have played his goalkeeper Sanchez instead of Alisson, but obviously Alisson seemed like the obvious choice there. But Liverpool not very convincing against Fulham. Let's have a look at the overall league. We've got the top scorer this week was top scorers this one top scorer this week had 100.
Real Social Dad.
Real Social Dad, very original.
How do you get 119 points?
He triple captained Haaland. I saw someone triple captain Zinchenko this week on the Saturday. So and he's obviously got
triple captain Zinchenko.
So someone triple captain Zinchenko. They're not top of the league now. But I saw them on.
Can I just mention this Ward-Prowse thing that I was talking about in the earlier shows?
You may.
Yes. What was I saying about the Ward-Prowse thing in the Tottenham defence and the reason I didn't pick a Tottenham defender, then I changed my mind? It was the Ward-Prowse thing, wasn't it?
You said he scores 50% of his free kicks.
Yeah. No.
Did he actually score a free kick? I didn't see it.
It wasn't a free kick. It wasn't a free kick. But
he scored a good half volley, actually.
He kicked the ball in the goal. He knows when he kicks the ball, it's like it ends up in the net for some reason. I don't know why. Anyone else that kicks it, it goes wide. But when he kicks it, it goes in the goal. And it's a good thing to have on your team when someone can kick a ball in the goal. Ward-Prowse does that a lot. He does it a lot.
For me, it was obvious that Spurs were going to thrash Southampton on the opening day. That's why I made
I
Kane
did say.
captain.
Yeah, they won, but that wasn't the conversation. Was they won't keep a clean sheet, and it was Ward-Prowse that. Yeah,
I think the conversation was Kulusevski actually.
Kulusevski.
He
That was
stole
that was
the
one of the best
limit.
moves that rock and roll done. Was the Kulusevski.
That guy was all over the beat. He was the man of the match, and he was clinical. He was.
That was your pick. That was your pick. The Kulusevski thing. You said no one.
Yeah,
said
don't copy my
Kulusevski.
Kulusevski.
Yeah.
Actually, it's don't copy my Nunes, and don't copy my Nunes is one of the penalties in King of the Week.
King of the Week! Yes!
As you can see, we're really excited about King of the Week. So what's King of the Week? Well, King of the Week is actually now called Manager of the Week because we're going to be doing it every month, but we are going to be doing it this week. And that's about as confusing as it gets. If you saw the first pilot episode, we mentioned Van Doozl talked about the number of fantasy Premier League managers there are, and I think there's 8.6 or 8.6 over 8.6 million managers right now, and over 70% of them have got Jesus, got over 60% have got Salah. While it's great to have so many fantasy Premier League managers, everybody having the same player makes it not that competitive, especially when people are captaining the same players week in, week out. So we've added our own rules. The manager of the week, that week, whoever has the highest score among us four will spin the wheel that you can see in front of you. And we have certain penalties there, punishments that will be used against a player, a manager of the choice of the manager of the week. So I hope that was clear. It will become clear as we play the game. So our punishments, as you can see, we can go through them. We have get rid of him, which is forcing another manager to get rid of a certain player, which means they have to buy another player. Flip it, which is forcing them to use one of their 3 chips if they haven't used one of them already. Don't copy my Nunes, which you've heard us say a number of times, which basically means you force the other manager to sell every player that they may have that is the same as yours, which can...
Ultimate destruction. That's the worst one. Don't copy my Nunes. It's really living up to its reputation, man.
Yeah, it's quite big, so you're going to land on it. Break my shape.
Break my shapes. If it lands on that, that's it. Your shape is gone.
Yeah, break my shape. Basically, you choose the manager's formation for the following week, so you can make them play 1 striker or 5 defenders. It's completely up to you. Reverse power, and that's basically reverses it back. So myself and Sparky on joint top between us this week. So we'll both be spinning the wheel. We're both on 62 points. So Sparky will spin first as the younger sibling. And if he gets reverse power, it reverses back to him. So I get to choose him again. So
I 100% guarantee I'm going to get that one because when I've tested it, I got it twice out of 3. So I know I'm going to get that now. I know for sure. Yes, I swear to God. You know, I was looking forward to this, but I don't know so much now. I'm not very lucky when it comes to numbers games.
I love this game. See, this is fantasy football.
I'm definitely the most unlucky guy.
If you play the official fantasy football Premier League game, you're not going to have this much fun. Absolutely
No.
not. By Christmas, you'll be like, oh my gosh, I'm bored now. It's like everyone's got the same team and I'm never going to catch them. Yeah, but this is different. So if you want to play our league, click the link. Join us.
And also, if you have any ideas as to some of the penalties that we can use in future episodes, please feel free to drop them in the comments below, and we'll be more than happy to incorporate them. We'll see how this pans out as the season progresses. So, Sparky, you ready to spin the wheel?
Yes, I'm ready.
3, 2, 1.
Oh gosh, come on. No,
Come on, reverse power.
Look. I told you.
So we get to spin the wheel for you. Who gets to spin the wheel now?
That is so good.
Now I
that
get
was
to
going to
spin
happen.
it, and
Hilarious.
whatever comes up, I have to use it against him.
Right.
So I'm spinning it now because it reversed the power. If it reverses it back, then it comes back to me. So we've got to see what's... Okay, so get rid of him.
Babes is the king of the week. Even if you're the king of the week, you're not safe. I never foresaw this ever.
I told you. I said it. I just said it.
Oh man.
Twice out of the 3 times I did a test run on this thing, I got.
Phil, you got to get rid of him.
Okay.
Hold on a minute. Wait. Rock and Roll CEO. It's not rigged this way, is it? Like the gambling machines.
No, there's only weights to certain penalties. So we wanted to make reverse power and chip it less of a probability, but that's the way the wheel works out. So I think I'm going to have to ask you to get rid of Salah this week.
You asshole.
I'm so glad this is.
Oh my god, I'm gonna cry.
Transfer out Salah and see who picks. As manager of the week, I have to spin the wheel now and choose my selection, unless it's reverse power.
Brilliant.
It would be so funny if it's reverse power again.
Come on.
Come on.
Oh,
Don't copy my Nunes.
No way. Oh no.
Oh no.
I'm screwed. It looks like I'm losing. I'm on like minus.
Who's the champion already?
Okay.
I'm on like -8 already now. Oh shit.
Who's got Zinchenko?
I got Zinchenko.
Not me.
Oh my lord.
I don't.
So I think I'll ask Oscar to get rid of Zinchenko.
Oh
Yeah,
no.
He's got to get rid of all the players in these teams that are the same as yours.
I don't know which other players he's got the same as mine, but I think just Zinchenko will be fine for the beginning of the week. Let's not.
Okay. All right. So you'll
So
be
now, hang on. Let me get this right. Yeah. So I've already done my transfer for the week, so I'm going to do another one and get rid of Zinchenko.
You really should have waited until we spun the wheel.
Yes, likewise. I've
Yeah,
already
you
done my
should've waited.
transfer for the week. Now I've got to change.
You can't.
Salah out.
I feel conned out of it, but
He thought there was no way that he can end up like being on the receiving end. Like
There was
Sparky-
every chance. I can't do numbers games, people.
Yeah.
All
I
right.
don't gamble.
So Sparky, tell us who you had for next week and who you're going to bring in after selling Salah.
Oh dear. Okay, so who I bought in this week? I subbed out Odegaard and bought in. This was, remember last week I said I had a tip for
yes.
surprise player of the season.
Yeah,
It
and you
was
never
this-
told us it's him.
Yes, Joe Aribo. This guy, he's a Nigerian youngster, if you like, and he's very reminiscent of Yannick Bolasie. Remember when he had a couple of amazing seasons for Crystal Palace?
Right. So this is like a tall, like a beast of a
Strong,
guy.
big
Yeah.
stride, very composed on the ball, able to beat defenders easily. He's like him.
Right.
And I think he's going to
Okay,
improve
right.
Southampton immensely this season.
So who are you thinking of changing Salah to? You're going to lose 4 points, but if you do it in such a way, you might even have gained something. So it's not a total loss.
I don't know if we've got enough time to do it now, but I'm going to have a look while we're getting on with it, and then I'll get back to you.
While Sparky's
Yes.
making his selection, Bunny, you want to talk about who you may bring in instead of Zinchenko? It's relatively easier. It's what a defender who's relatively cheap priced.
so I don't have to sell him then, do I? Do I have to just take him off on subs?
No, you have to sell him. You can't copy him.
Oh, man. Oh man. All right. Okay. So I can get rid of White, and I've got 1.5 million in the bank. So I think I'll be able to get a good defender to replace him, actually. So
Oh my gosh, he might be doing you a favor.
Okay, well,
yeah, it'll probably be a Liverpool defender. I'll go for a Liverpool defender.
one of the tactics that is important in fancy Premier League is obviously substitutions. You never want to make them too early, and you especially do not want to make them before the game week is over. So
But now you're telling me.
Transfers.
there's always a temptation. There's always a temptation to make a substitution out of anger or whatever during the week on a weekend. There may be a game on a Monday, and you may think, "I'm going to buy this player," but there's always a risk of that player that you are thinking of bringing in or do bring in getting injured on that game that hasn't been played yet. The other thing that it always has to be taken into consideration, if you aren't already doing this, is player prices rising and dropping. If you wait too late, You shouldn't be waiting too long after the final game of the game week, because that's when all the transfer algorithm in the fantasy league back end starts calculating, and the player prices can drop or rise. So, for example, I've got Kanate, and I'm going to wait for a week maybe before selling him, but there's a danger that he could drop in price, which obviously affects your team value and your buying power for the following week. So, yeah. So,
Yeah.
funny, you brought in Van Dijk. That's quite a bold move there.
Look at Liverpool's game. I think Liverpool's got a good game against Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace, if they struggle to score against Arsenal, they're probably going to struggle to score against Liverpool.
Well,
So yeah.
do you want to show us your team for the week ahead?
Right. So I think next week, Man City have got a good fixture against Bournemouth. So I didn't waste too much time on the one transfer I made. And this new rule in the Premier League with the 5 substitution is quite frustrating now, I've found, because they end up like taking off loads of players and bringing on the one you picked for like 1 minute.
Yeah,
1 minute he played Doherty. Yeah, I picked Ake from Man City. He got 7 points this week. So I'm not wasting too much time. Good fixture, Man City. I'm picking Ake.
I mean, you bought in Ake, so Ake's been your change for this week. Any other
Yeah.
tips any other tips that you'd recommend that you don't have in your team that you maybe wanted to buy but couldn't, that you think may do well this weekend?
Well, one player that through my team metamorphosis, which got to this, which I eliminated from the team, which was the stupidest move, was Cher from Newcastle, and yeah, he's one of the players that I think will be scoring like scorches like that. He scored a brilliant goal. I mean, he was one of the players I was looking at, and I'm looking at another player called Daka from Leicester City. If he gets game time, I think he can be a player that is going to make a mark on the Premier League. Daka from Leicester City. I'm not going to give too many tips. It's way too early to say. And like I said, I gave many tips on the last episode, and none of them really came to fruition. Like everything that I said was the opposite. I said Haaland's going to have trouble finding his legs, and he just found his legs a few times in the same game. It was like, wow.
Yeah, so Van Doozl, it's interesting you mentioned Shah, because I only made one transfer this week. Look at my captain.
Humorous.
Oh,
Bruno.
He's a really good player, Bruno Guimaraes. I thought about buying him, but again, I wanted to see him a bit more, but he's a fantastic player.
Yeah, I mean, that's right. Last season, again, looking at his stats, he played just over like 1,000 minutes, which is just over 10 games, and he had 5 goals and an assist, and he always looked lively when he came on, and they're going to do really well this season. They looked very good. Eddie Howe's superb manager. And away at Brighton, Brighton obviously had a brilliant result, but after a result like that, there can be a bit of a dip on a high. Not that beating Man United is so much of a high these days, but no offense.
Apparently, Brighton are really good at home. Apparently,
they are. I mean, Brighton's got an excellent manager as well. I'm taking a risk with Bruno. Everybody's going to be triple captain Haaland this weekend, so I'm going with Bruno as a chance. It could pull off. He's a
good player. He's a really good player.
Other than that, when we look at the fixtures ahead for this weekend, anything stand out? Leicester, I think, beat Arsenal last season. Not sure. I'll have to fact check that one. But yeah, Man City Bournemouth is obviously the one where all the points to be made. But again, like Sparky, I avoid Manchester City players because of actual allegiances rather than fancy allegiances. But West Ham could be a good one. You were talking about Skamaka earlier on, Van Doozl. He could be a...
Skamaka is going to be he's a good player.
Yeah. I wasn't expecting him to play this weekend. It said that he had the 25% chance of playing because he wasn't match fit, and he didn't 100% match fit. But I think I may bring him on. I'm going to wait until the weekend and see what happens. And
yeah, he got born as a sub, second half.
So, apologies to Sparky for making him sell his Salah.
I apologise, but I'm not sorry.
Yeah, sorry, but not sorry.
This is coming back big time.
If you enjoyed that, don't forget to sign up for our Fantasy Premier League. And don't forget to follow us on Twitter. And we'll see you next week.
Yeah.